with the way that Chicago has been playing this season, what is the limit or what is the potential for the Chicago Bulls throughout the rest of the season?
I mean, you have to say at this point in the season, you would say that they're a true competitor in the Eastern Conference. They have probably one of the best duo, if not the best duo, currently in the NBA, and statistically amongst Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, who have just put up incredible numbers all season long. They have a true pass first rebounding point guard in Lonzo Ball. Obviously, they know that Kobe White can ball out. You know, he's coming from the boys' school. He's coming from UNC. We all know he's a baller by nature. And then Nikola Vucevic, the big guy down low that can play great defense, that can extend plays outside and really stretch the floor. So I really think that the sky's the limit with this team. I know a whole lot of people outside of the two of us were really kind of shitting on the DeMar DeRozan acquisition. What's he going to do? He's washed up. He didn't really have anything left in San Antonio. It's between Zach LaVine and DeMar. They're not going to get along, blah, 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 blah. And it's the complete opposite. Kyle and I both said that this was going to work out perfectly. We thought that this starting lineup was never going to be an issue. We thought it was going to be the bench. We thought that because of their lack of an actual bench and productivity there, that they weren't going to be able to capitalize in the Eastern Conference. Kobe White's playing great. Alex Caruso's been playing stellar, and a litany of other players that are on this bench. Derek Jones Jr. is giving them good, valuable minutes. So it's like, bro, what can't this team do? DeMar DeRozan has shown the capability of that veteran presence to be a clutch veteran leader on the field, on the court, and off the court. We've seen that he can hit the clutch shot. We've seen that Zach LaVine can take over a game and be the leader that they need offensively if DeMar's having an off night. And we've seen that Lonzo Ball's consistent shooting stroke has been someone that they can lean on late in games if they need a clutch bucket as well. So I think that Chicago's a very good and well-rounded team. I think that they're slept on defensively as well. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there and they make a run for an Eastern Conference Finals appearance just because they're playing that well. And I know that we're in January and the playoffs don't start necessarily until May, so we have some time. But damn, man, if the season were to end today, this team is really going to be sitting there. You can make the point of, are they even going to be competing for an NBA championship? I know that we're super, super, super far out, but if you go and look at it, dude, I think the only team realistically that can beat them in a 7 game series would be Brooklyn or Milwaukee. And if I'm being honest, right now, the way that Chicago's playing, I think they would beat Milwaukee. I just think that Brooklyn, if they get Kyrie at any capacity, is going to make it a little bit difficult in a 7 game series.
I mean, I'm with you 100%. When I look at this team from top to bottom, this team has like a perfect blend of veteran leadership to go along with the youth that they have on this team. You got guys like DeMar DeRozan. DeMar's been around the league for over a decade plus, and he's definitely proven that he is one of the more consistent players that we've seen in the NBA throughout his time being an NBA player. And then to go along with that, you have guys like Nikola Vucevic. You have Zach LaVine, who Zach LaVine has been one of the most consistent players on Chicago the last couple years, and he's improved significantly from the days when he was playing with the Timberwolves, where he was primarily known as just a guy that could just attack the rim at will. But he has improved solidly with just his all around game. He has become a very good shooter. He is just a huge attack. Like, he's just a guy that just attacks the rim on a consistent basis. And he's a really good leader for this team as a whole. And I think the one guy that's kind of being lost in this whole equation when it comes to Chicago is Billy Donovan. I think Billy Donovan has done a very solid job coaching this team from the start of the season up until now. We're a third of the way through the season. They're at the top of the Eastern Conference for a reason. And it's because he's putting these guys in situations where these guys are being able to excel and making the most of it. Now, do I think that this team is going to compete for an NBA championship this year? There's an outside shot that they can do that. I think the odds are stacked against them in that regard. But I could definitely see them possibly threatening to get to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, like you mentioned. I could definitely see that. But they would have to prove to me that they can either outscore Brooklyn or Milwaukee on a consistent basis, or that they play solid enough defense against both of those teams. Because when I look at like Brooklyn and when I look at Milwaukee, Brooklyn is so potent offensively. It's going to be tough to overcome that. And then Milwaukee they're just a great, well-rounded team offensively and defensively. And I would say that Chicago would definitely give them a run for their money against both teams. It's just, it seems like Brooklyn and Milwaukee are just better as far as talent goes. But from rosters top to bottom, Chicago can definitely compete with these teams. There's no doubt about it. It's just once we get into a playoff situation, then we're gonna have to really kind of see how it plays out. We're only a third of the way through the season. They're at the top of the Eastern Conference for a reason. They've been playing stellar basketball. DeMar's been hitting clutch shots in these last two games against the Wizards and the Pacers. I do expect that this team is going to be at worst a top three team in the Eastern Conference when it's all said and done. Do I think that they maintain the number one seed until the end of the season? I think that's a bit of a stretch, but I think this team deserves a lot of credit, a lot of respect for how they started the season. And I do think that this team, if they stay healthy and hopefully they don't go through like a major COVID issue, because COVID's kind of one of those things that is really kind of an unknown moving forward. But this team has the pieces to definitely compete for an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. There's no doubt about that. Do I think that they could possibly win it if they get there? Maybe. I doubt it, but we'll kind of have to see how that kind of plays out for the rest of the season. But I got to give Chicago a lot of credit. They're having a fantastic start, and they deserve a lot of respect for that.